welcome. We are going to be talking about building your personal brand in the creator economy today, which I'm super excited about. If you guys have been to my webinars before, you know that there are a lot of work. We're going to be covering a lot of material. You're going to be learning so much. And so I want to make sure that you guys are going to get the most out of today's class. So, what are you going to do to make the most out of today's session? Are you going to put away your phone, make sure that it's on silent? Are you going to get out of Slack? Are you going to get some coffee? I've got some coffee here, some water here. Make sure you got your notepad. Make sure if you've got pets or kids that they're out of the room and that you're going to be able to fully focus today. Now, today's presentation is sponsored by OpusClip, and this is something that I would literally be charging over $1,000 for. So again, make the most out of today's class. You're going to be learning a lot. We have a lot of ground to cover, and I need you guys to be fully focused. So tell me what you guys are going to do to get ready for the session. Okay, so like I mentioned, today's presentation is made possible by OpusClip. Now, OpusClip is a tool that my team has been using for over 3 years now. We use it in our process to make videos for my social media. So if you guys see all my cool podcast videos, that is made possible by OpusClip. So OpusClip is really awesome because they take one long video, they turn it into lots of different clips for you in an automated way with AI. It can do really cool things like find the most emotional moment in all your long form videos, find the funniest moment. It's just a really advanced tool. It's the most advanced AI tool that's available. It's the #1 AI video clipping tool. It helps you automate your workflow. There's things beyond just editing. You can add captions, you can schedule things, you can also have analytics with all your videos, and it's totally free to start. So really excited about OpusClip in general, being a partner with Young and Profiting Podcast. If you guys sign up today, you get 300 credits free. So in preparation for the demo later, so we don't have to worry about it later and we cannot interrupt ourselves, I need everybody right now to make sure that you sign up for OpusClip. There's no credit card required, and you get 300 minutes of video credits a month free with OpusClip. So I need you guys to just sign up now. Even if you have OpusClip, sign up, get 300 free credits. But if you don't, make sure you sign up right now. You get 300 credits for free. There's no credit card required. So today's agenda, we are going to be talking about the rise of creator entrepreneurship, what the opportunity is. We're going to have a live personal branding workshop. We're going to go through algorithm hacking. So essentially, I have come up with the keys to cracking any algorithm in 2025 because they're all starting to become the same type of algorithm. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the psychology of attention, the AI revolution with OpusClip. We're going to do a live OpusClip demo with Connor, video viral strategies, and then we're going to talk about mindset, burnout-proof productivity. The mindset section, I think, is my favorite section. So make sure you stay tuned till the end of this webinar because I feel like it's going to be really transformative for all of us. Okay. All right. So let's get started. Tell me, guys, what do all of these extremely successful entrepreneurs have in common? This is GaryVee, Alex Hormozi, Russell Brunson, Codie Sanchez. These are all folks that have been on Young and Profiting Podcast, my podcast. What do all of these extremely successful entrepreneurs have in common? Tell me in the, somebody said exotic cars. Nope. Maybe they all have exotic cars, but that's not what I was thinking. Discipline, brand consistency, strong personal brand, confidence, click funnels, money, personal brand, great communication. Okay, a lot of you guys are hitting the nail on the head. And the answer is they all invest heavily in their online personal brand. They all know that personal brand is the most valuable asset that you can own because personal brand creates a moat around your company and competitors can copy your products, but they can't copy you when you have a personal brand. So creating content builds credibility and people buy from those who they trust. Okay. So they all invest heavily in personal brand. These are people that have, millions of dollars. They probably all make $100 million a year and they still invest in their online personal brand because they know that it's so important. Okay. Now we are in the era of the creator entrepreneur. when you start a personal brand, you essentially enter the creator economy, which is projected to double in the next 2 years. We're going to talk a lot later in this session about the opportunity at hand here, because a lot of people feel like it's too late and that, all the influencers are already there, but that is really, really not the case. We are in an unprecedented time in terms of the growth trajectory of the creator economy. And when you become a creator entrepreneur, your business essentially becomes audience driven and you unlock unlimited ways to monetize. Okay. Now, I want to just give you a little bit of background about myself and to help you understand like why I'm credible to be teaching creator entrepreneurship to begin with. And I am a creator entrepreneur myself. I am a top 100 podcaster. I'm the host of the Young and Profiting podcast. It's a #1 entrepreneurship and business podcast across all different apps. I'm also the founder of YAP Media. It's an award-winning podcast production and social media agency. We cater to authors, podcasters, influencers. I'm also the founder and CEO of the YAP Media Podcast Network. So I have 35 other podcasts in my YAP Media network. People like Jenna Kutcher and Russell Brunson and John Lee Dumas and Lori Harder, Amy Porterfield, Tori Dunlap. They're in my network and I grow and I monetize their show. And then I take a revenue share of all their sponsorships. And I'm also an influencer on LinkedIn primarily, other than podcasting and YouTube. So I have 270,000 followers on LinkedIn. I'm one of the top influencers on that platform. And I'm a creator entrepreneur. That is literally my job. And I wasn't always a creative entrepreneur, though. Before I was young and profiting, I was young and dreaming. I wanted to be a radio personality. So my first job when I was 19 years old was at an Hot 97. It is the most popular radio station in the world. And at 19 years old, I ended up dropping out of college to work on the Angie Martinez show. She was the voice of New York. She was the most popular radio personality in the world. It was the top program for radio in the world at the time. And so I worked for free for 3 years at that station. I'd make my money at night hosting parties and showcases and things like that. And I didn't get paid a dime at the station. So 3 years into it, I started to get a little bit insecure. I asked for a paid job. And when I asked for a paid job, they ended up giving it to somebody else who had never worked on the show. And they asked me to train him. So long story short, I got really upset. And I remember texting my friend, hey, I'm so sorry. If you want to learn how to be the producer of the show, learn it on your own. And I got fired immediately. Okay. So 3 years, not getting paid a dime, worked my tail off, was my identity, Hala from Hot 97. And I was crushed. So I felt a part of me had died. And I'm not one to stay down. So within a few days, I was back to dreaming. And I decided I was going to start this blog called The Sorority of Hip Hop. I went on Twitter and Craigslist and I started recruiting girls. And within a couple months, I recruited 50 girls to join me. And I taught them how to blog. I learned how to build websites. And within months, we were one of the most popular entertainment sites in the world. And I started getting popularity on Twitter and IG. And the DJs who refused to give me minimum wage were then now asking me to host all their parties. And I started getting shouted out on the radio and really started to become like kind of famous in the tri-state area. And so much so that MTV reached out to us to create a reality TV show. They saw us as the next Jersey Shore, and I was set to be the lead of the show. They got us a studio on Broadway. They hooked it up like real world style. And I thought, okay, great. 6 years into me working so hard, grinding, not really making much money. Finally, I made it. I'm going to be the star of my own MTV show. But 2 weeks before this show was set to air, they filmed us all summer. I got a call from my producer. They said, we're moving in another direction. And I was super devastated this time. I had been rejected from radio, TV, and I thought, okay, I guess this is just not going to happen. Like, this is just not my destiny. It's never going to happen. I shut down the blog. All my best friends were in this blog with me. They were all furious at me because I just shut it down, even though we were pretty successful in the blog world, but we weren't making any money. And looking back, I was trying to be a creator entrepreneur with my blog and my social media, but I was too early. This was 10 years ago, guys. So there was no such thing as influencer. I had 5,000 followers on Twitter and 5,000 on Instagram. It wasn't enough to be a creator entrepreneur. I was too early. There wasn't enough people who were active online. And so, because of that, my destiny was still in other people's hands. Okay. So, I just decided that I was going to make a change. It was time to get young and real. Okay. I went back to school. I got my MBA. I entered the corporate world. And I honestly thought I would never get back on a mic. I thought, this is it. I'm just going to be a normal person, just work in corporate, maybe become the CMO of a company. And to my surprise, I actually thrived in corporate. I had the craziest resume in the world. I had a 2.3 GPA undergrad because I never went to school and I was working at the station. I was was an intern for 3 years, and then I had a blog for a hip hop blog. So I was a crazy, like, I'm surprised they even gave me a job in corporate, but I did amazing. And I ended up being the same Hala in corporate. I was interviewing the C-suite executives, leading the young employee network. But then 4 years into my corporate career, I had another rejection. I don't want to go into the story because it's a long story, but basically, I really was supposed to be the president of the Global Young Employee Network and lead all the young employees at HP. I totally deserved it. But then they gave it to somebody else, a guy that had zero experience in the organization when I had essentially for 2 years been leading it as like a second job within the company. And in that moment, all of my rejections from the past came rushing back. And I told myself, this is the last time that I'm leaving my future, my career in somebody else's hands. Okay. I just said I had enough. And my timing was better. And instead of leading 7,000 young professionals, I decided, okay, I'm going to lead millions with young and profiting podcasts. It was 2018 and podcasts were becoming more mainstream. And I saw people like Jenna Kutcher and Amy Porterfield gaining popularity with their podcasts. And I thought, all right, I've had 4 other radio shows in the past. Had a blog. I have all this marketing experience. I did well on Twitter back in the day and Instagram. Maybe I could do this too. Maybe I could start an online personal brand and start Young and Profiting Podcast. And so I did that, and Young and Profiting Podcast was born. Now, everybody told me I was crazy. In 2018, guys, people told me I was too late. In 2018, all my friends told me, what are you doing? Podcasting is too saturated. You're too late. Who do you think you are? I was told I wasn't even 30 years old. I was told I was too old to start a podcast. Okay. But I did it. I didn't listen to anybody. No plan, no team. I just started 50% production, 50% promotion. My main focus for my personal brand was LinkedIn, and I quickly became one of the top influencers on there. And passion is magnetic. And fans would reach out to telling me I changed their life. They wanted to help me with the show. And by episode 8, so like just maybe a month or two into the podcast, I had 20 volunteers that decided they would help me and help me run my brand for free. Volunteers, interns in Slack, where I would teach them how to video edit, audio edit, run my social media. So I had 20 volunteers so that I could work my full-time corporate job. Okay. Within 2 years, my hobby became a #1 education podcast. This is a very old podcast cover showing how I hit #1. And these days, I'm always top in the business charts on Apple. I always get to use my voice to make an impact for the world. And then I started to monetize. So for 2 years, I just focused on growing my audience. My guests turned into my clients. I had this volunteer team and I converted them into my company now, which is YAP Media. And so the guests that would come on my show would always ask me, who does your LinkedIn? Who does your podcast? And then I was like, you know what? I can start doing this as a service. So anything I figured out for myself, how to grow on LinkedIn, how to produce a podcast, how to monetize, I just turned it into services and started doing it for other people. Then I started YAP Academy. I started selling live and digital courses. I mastered getting sponsorships for myself, and I started my second company, the YAP Media Podcast Network. And now I secure ad sales for all the podcasters I used to look up to: Jenna Kutcher, Russell Brunson, Amy Porterfield, Lori Harder, and so many more. So literally living my dream career. And the volunteers that used to work for me are now managers, business partners at my company, like Kate, who's on the line right now. And this year, guys, we're on track to hit 8 figures. So we're on track to make $10 million this year at YAP Media. And I have to tell you that I owe it all to a personal brand. A personal brand is what enabled me to become a creator entrepreneur, to give me my dream career, my dream company, my dream team. everything that I have today, I owe to starting a podcast and a personal brand. And honestly, guys, like this year especially, this is the first year that I started really taking a payout for my sponsorships because I was bootstrapping my company with all of my ad sales. And I'm starting to make a lot of money. And I'm very transparent with these kinds of things. And I just bought a pink Porsche. And I asked my business partner, like, because I had to like fill out my paperwork. And I was like, how much money am I going to make every month this year? And he's like, Holly, you're going to make over $100,000 every month this year. And I was like, what? And so, like, I am living my dream career, and I'm not sharing with you with this to brag, right? Sorry, I'm like stuttering. I'm not sharing to brag. I'm sharing because I see all my friends struggling. All the friends that told me not to start a podcast in 2018, they don't have a lot of them don't have jobs or they're worried about getting laid off if they have a job. They have the same salary as they had 8 years ago or barely adjusted. They're, just in such a different place than me. And I don't have those types of worries because I have different revenue streams. For example, the economy is not doing so well. So we lost a few agency clients, but it like doesn't matter because I have a network, because I have courses, because I have this, I have that. It's like if one thing goes down, okay, let's lean into something else. Let's launch a masterclass, make that money up. There's no worries as a creator entrepreneur right now. So I'm sharing this with you because I want to inspire you. I want you to know that if you want to become a creator entrepreneur, I believe in you. If you're willing to invest the time and be consistent, I believe that you can do this. I'm not more special than anybody else. I'm not smarter than anybody else. I just kept going and I started. Okay. The creator economy is just beginning and there's no better way to future yourself. And today, I'm going to teach you how to do the same. I spent the last 3 weeks working on this presentation so that I could make sure that I was able to help you guys get started on your creator entrepreneurship journey. And my promise to you is that in the next 80 minutes, I'm going to show you how you can step into creator entrepreneurship. You'll learn how to create a magnetic personal brand, grow a community that converts and monetize your content, even if you don't have a team yet, you have no audience or no budget. Okay. And if I make good on this promise, will you guys allow me and Connor to show you how Opus Clip can support your creator entrepreneurship goals? Does that sound fair? If I make good on that promise, teaching you guys everything you need to know to get ready for your creator entrepreneurship journey, can we have an engaging, awesome demo with Opus Clip so we can show you how Opus Clip can help support your goals? So there are over 50 million creators who are earning income through their digital platform. So I want to get a pulse and see where everybody's at. Are you participating in the creator economy yourself? So we're going to do a little ranking rating activity. So are you a lurker? All right. Are you consuming more than you create? If you haven't made the leap yet, type 1 in the chat. Or are you a dabbler? You've posted a few things, maybe sold 1 or 2 products, but you're inconsistent and unmonetized. Or are you a builder? You've launched something real. You've got offers, content, you're making money, but it's not full time. Maybe it's still a side hustle. Or are you a creator CEO? You're monetizing across all platforms, diversifying revenue, treating your brand like a real business. You're full time with it. Or are you like me? You've got a digital empire. You're scaling teams, building media assets, turning your personal brand into a category defining empire. How would you rate yourself on the scale right now? Okay, so to all the lurkers, the dabblers, even the builders, this is your wake up call. Your job is not secure. You've got to start building your brand now. Okay. Traditional jobs, you get 1 paycheck. You do not own your work or your audience. You've got a capped salary. Your skill growth is stunted. This is kind of what I was talking about before. I feel like all my friends are in the same place. Meanwhile, I feel like I've learned so much because I've just had so many different opportunities to learn. You are vulnerable to layoffs, downsizing. The economy is going nuts right now. You've got to build an asset that you can transfer no matter where you are, no matter what job you have. You're building somebody else's legacy and AI. We love AI, but if you have a traditional job, AI is your enemy. If you're a creator entrepreneur, AI helps you accelerate everything. Okay. Creator entrepreneur, on the other hand, you've got diversified income streams, you own your brand, you have built in resilience because you have a global audience. It's not just limited to the country that you're in. You're building a long-term monetizable asset, and AI helps make content creation faster and smarter. Okay. So the New York Post reported Gen Z and millennials, 58% fear layoffs, 74% live paycheck to paycheck. Okay. So I want to hear in the chat, who is worried about their job right now? Who is fearing layoffs? Who is living paycheck to paycheck? Who feels insecure with their job security? Now, so many of us are feeling the stress. But again, creators have so much less to worry about because the business model of being a creator is so flexible. And being a creator now is so much easier than it used to be. Okay. You can let AI take your job, or you can have AI to your advantage to become a creator entrepreneur. Now, the creator economy. A lot of you guys might have a mental block where you think that it's too late to start. I want you to understand that we are in an unprecedented time in terms of the growth trajectory of the creator economy. It's 250 billion today. It's set to be 480 billion in the next 2 years. It's going to double in size. It's not saturated, it's expanding. 67% of the planet is online. That's almost 6 billion people who are scrolling, watching, sharing every single day. Millions of users come online every single day, and they're spending hours online every day. So we are in a perfect timing where it's not too late. It's the perfect time. So the growth over the next 2 years is going to be greater than the last 17 years combined. Do you understand how big of a deal that is? That means that if you just start today, it doesn't matter. You see these huge influencers that are around today, even if they started 10 years ago, the whole market is going to double in size in the next 2 years, meaning that the same amount of growth that happened over the last 17 years is about to happen in the next 2 years. Now, if you wait 2 years from now, you might be too late. So you got to get started today, okay? It's not too late. It is the right time. Tell me, let's have a pop quiz. What is the non-negotiable foundation of any creator business? What is the foundation of any creator business? An audience. An audience is a foundation of the creator business. Nothing else matters. When you are a creator entrepreneur, your business is the audience. And you tailor everything around the audience. And you can switch what you offer whenever you want. And you can have endless revenue streams. So we are going to hear now from Harley Finkelstein. He is the president of Shopify. And we're going to hear what it means, why creator entrepreneurship is so much different than it was before. So let me play this video for you guys. Give me one sec.
The second thing is you have this new emergent. I actually tweeted also about this, that the creator economy is fake. It's just the economy. Well, obviously that's a little bit tongue in cheek, but what I meant by that is usually when you're starting a business, you start with product and then you build an audience. So I want to build the world's greatest pen, and I'm going to bake this pen, and then I'm going to go and find people that want to buy this pen. Or using the example earlier, I made this new appliance or this new beautiful blanket, and I'm going to make more of it, and then I'm going to go and sell it. Well, for the first time ever, you actually have people now that first have audiences that are thinking about how can I add more value to my audience. And it's not just, obviously everyone talks about, Mr. Beast, and I have some Feastables here. But it's not just Mr. Beast. Like all of us are on, not all of us, a lot of us are on social media. We inherently have audiences. You may have 100,000 followers, or you may have 5 followers, but you have an audience. And if you are putting out content and you're putting out information that is valuable to them, you have a really good relationship with that audience. They trust you. They want to hear from you. They want to understand you. And so now if you are, putting out great content about the future of, the skateboard industry, that's one of our new stores, Supreme, which is one of my Moby Dick was Supreme. I really wanted to get Supreme on Shopify for a very, very long time. And finally, now they're on Shopify. So if you're putting out great content about the skateboard industry, maybe you should think about designing a skateboard. Or if you go blog about, soccer, for example, and how, the soccer industry and soccer coming to America versus the World Cup, maybe you should start selling soccer balls because your audience already has an interest in that particular category. So actually, I think this idea of the creator economy, it's just the economy, except that there's this really cool advantage, which is that you have a built-in audience for your products.
Okay, so you guys just heard it from Harley. That's the main advantage, okay? That you have a built-in audience. So creators reverse the old playbook. The old playbook used to be build a product, find an audience. And you kind of had to guess, right? You could test, you could see if people wanted it, but you had to guess. And sometimes it would fail. Very often it fails. The new model is you build an audience and then you launch aligned products. So you can get feedback from your audience and build what they want, build what people ask you about. Every creator has influence and trust, so you can get started whether you have 5 or 100,000 followers. Okay. Because think about it, if you have $1,000 product, even if you can sell five of them a month, you make $5,000 a month, right? So you can do this whether you have a big or small audience. And content builds connection, and connection creates demand. So when you have audience trust, it's a powerful foundation for having an e-commerce business or business online. Okay. Something that I read of yours, we are going to hear from Nick Loper, who is the king of side hustles. Something that I read of yours that I thought was really interesting is that you actually consider a side hustle being growing an audience, right? You call it an audience business. So talk to us about why having an audience in itself can be a side hustle with multiple avenues.
Yeah, this is probably, tier three, tier one services, tier two products. Tier three is this really flexible hybrid, content-based business, audience-based business where it could be a social following, it could be a blog following, a podcast following, a YouTube following. And once you have people paying attention, like the entire playbook opens up. Yeah, sure, you could sell services, you could sell products, you could sell attention in the form of advertising or affiliate partnerships, but it really is a powerful place to play. And that's really where I spent the bulk of my side hustle and entrepreneurial time over the last 10 years, trying to figure out how to get more traffic, how to get more listeners, how to get more email subscribers, and play in that space because the scale is almost infinite, right? It takes, as you know, the same effort and energy and investment to create an episode, a podcast episode that 10 people listen to, or 10,000 people listen to, or 100,000 people. And so it's a really unique platform in that way. And the same thing with social content or video content.
Yeah, what Nick said here is so powerful. So there's a couple things that I want to call out. Some of them he said, some of it I like, it's just points that I want to make. So, number one, you do not need to quit your job to start being a creator entrepreneur. In fact, I recommend you do it as a side hustle. That's what I did for 2 years. I just grew my personal brand on LinkedIn and my podcast. And then I quit my job once I was making more money than my corporate job. So you can just start building an audience and not sell anything as a side hustle. Just start acquiring a following. Have a general, we're going to talk about audience, picking your audience later. You just need to have like a general idea of like the type of audience that you want. And then you just start creating and building that foundation, which is your audience. Okay. Next is your audience is a flexible, transferable asset. You take that audience from job to job, right? You also don't need to be scared about having your personal brand impact your job in any way. A lot of times we've got these reservations about starting a side hustle or a personal brand because we're like, what are people going to say at work? What I promise you, it's going to make you more valuable at work. If you really want to keep having jobs, it's going to help you get a better job. Because as an employer, people are looking at your LinkedIn, they're looking at your Instagram. And if you look really polished and like people follow your advice, you are more desirable, right? So even when it comes to getting a job, building a personal brand is going to help you. Next, this is a really, really important point. Content has infinite scale. Okay. I have been consistently doing my podcast for 7 years now, since 2018. Okay. I've never missed an episode in 7 years. Now, for 2 years, I made no money. Now I make $100,000 a month. Okay. Now because it can compound so fast. And I was doing the same work podcast twice a week, making no money. Now I do the same work and I make $100,000 a month because it's the audience that changed. It's how big my audience is now. And so that is just so powerful. As a creator entrepreneur, you just compound. The work doesn't change, but you make more money because your audience grows. So you get paid more per commercial when you have more of an audience. Platforms pay you more based on how many views that you have. You can charge more when you have social proof for your agency and so on. So it just has infinite scale, right? And you can just keep growing it and compounding it. The other thing that Nick mentioned is the endless revenue streams. He mentioned an audience-based business as like the third tier. It's like the pinnacle of all entrepreneurship is creator entrepreneurship, which is why in the beginning of this presentation, I was saying, why does GaryVee do this? Why does Codie Sanchez? They have $100 million businesses is because being a creator entrepreneur is the pinnacle of entrepreneurship because you can have endless revenue streams. You can have brand sponsorships, ad revenue, physical products, equity opportunities. You can build a network like I did, virtual events, live events, subscriptions, masterminds, courses, coaching. It's literally endless. So for me, these are all the ones in green are the things that I do. So like I said, even if something does bad, like for example, I decided not to do courses because I just didn't want to do them anymore for a little bit. I didn't want to do live courses. Now the economy is going bad. My agency clients, some of them can't afford it because we're very expensive. And okay, I'm just going to go back to doing courses and my revenue is not going to change, right? So you have the opportunity to kind of like decide based on the economy, based on what you're hearing from people, how you want to monetize because your audience is there and you can always sell to them. So let's start off with our personal brand live workshop. This is where you want to make sure you got your notepad out or like notes on your computer so you can type notes. So first off, let's talk about what personal branding is. All right. So personal branding is essentially the intersection between how you want to be seen and how others see you. Okay. You could want to be seen as positive, inspirational, a finance expert. You can have all these things that you want to be seen as. But if you're not putting your content out there, if you're not being consistent, others are going to just make up your personal brand for you. They're going to perceive you based on what you have put out there and the interactions that they've had with you. So your job when creating your personal brand is to be super intentional about every single interaction that you have on social media so that you can start to shape how people perceive you because that is what your personal brand is. Okay. Now, branding, if I could pick one word as a synonym for branding, it would be consistency. Your personal brand will make you magnetic, and it's because of the consistency. So Jeff Bezos has this quote, your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. Okay. So again, you need to train people on how you want them to perceive you. You need to be super consistent in every interaction and every comment and every caption and every post. You need to think about what your key messages are going to be and repeat them over and over and over again so that you can become a strong brand. It's just all about consistency and repeating your messages. The other thing I want to mention is that you are the brand. So this is something that has really been transformative in the last, I'd say 5 or 6 years, is that nobody cares about logos. Nobody's going to buy from a logo. Nobody's going to buy from a company name. People buy from people. People buy from people that they like, that they trust. And so many big brands nowadays have a face. And if you want to be a creator entrepreneur, you need to be comfortable with your face. You need to be comfortable with putting yourself on video, with sharing photographs, with sharing personal stories. You are the brand. It's not your company. It's not your logo. Those things don't matter anymore. You can have a multi-million-dollar business and have no logo today. Your logo is your face. There's so many people who are successful as creator entrepreneurs. It has nothing to do with looks. It has to do with connecting with your audience authentically. Okay. So there are two main elements of personal branding: brand voice and visual identity. So brand voice is everything that you say on social media. It's your personality, the unique way that you present yourself to the world. And essentially, this helps you build meaningful connections with your audience, and your brand voice is so important. So, we're going to be spending the next 10 minutes or so, or 15 minutes or so, just getting a start on our voice identity. And I'm going to help you guys unlock the key things that you need to figure out. So, voice is super important on social media. This is what gets people to really connect and trust with you, and what gets a community around you. Now, visual identity is everything that your community physically sees. In 2025, this is basically video, okay? Video, photographs, but things like logos, fonts, colors, these things almost mean nothing now, right? Personal branding now is like your voice, your captions, the things that you write, the things that you say on your videos, and then it's like your video aesthetics. What are your aesthetics? Nobody cares about the feed anymore. Like again, fonts, logos, these things don't matter as much anymore because the world is moving toward video, not graphics. Okay? So there are four main pillars to a brand voice. Now, this is a system that I basically developed myself for my clients, and you're about to go through a mini workshop that I take through with all my clients and students in my different master classes. So again, make sure you've got some pen, paper. We're going to do some activities now. So let's start off with just going over what the four pillars are. Number one is values. When you are trying to outline your brand voice, you need to decide, what do you stand for? What are your standards in behavior? What are your deeply held principles? Who are you? Okay. So values is number one. Number two is audience. You need to know, who are you trying to attract? Because everything that you do is for them. Your social media is not for you. It's not what makes you feel good. It's what makes them feel good. You want to mirror your audience in your values and your personality. You want to figure out what they need from you. It's all about providing value to your audience. So from the start, you need to be intentional about, who are you trying to attract? Third is personality. So this is something, again, you get to show up on social media how you want. It's your job to curate your social media in a way that you get people to perceive you how you want them to perceive you. So your personality is something that you can choose. And I recommend that you're authentic and you choose like one or two things that are real to you, but you also want to think about mirroring your audience. What kind of a personality does your audience want? What kind of a relationship do you want to have with your audience? Are you a peer? Are you a mentor? Are you a supporter? You need to think about those things in terms of your personality and be intentional about it. And again, it can be aspirational, right? It can be something that you want to be more positive. Maybe you're not naturally that positive of a person, but you want to show up positive online, and that's your personality. Okay. Impact, and this is probably the most important, is your key messages. How do you plan to transform your audience? What are you going to repeat over and over and over and over again, where people know this is what you stand for? This is what gets people to auto share. Okay. When they're just like, I know I align with everything that Hala says, anything that she posts, I'm going to comment and share because I align with everything that she stands for. It's because I'm consistent in repeating my messages over and over and over again. Okay. So let's go through one by one. Let's start with values. Okay. So to reiterate what I mentioned about values, values is everything that you stand for. It's your stable life goals. It represents what matters to you. And most importantly, it helps you make decisions in tough times. Okay. So your values matter when somebody is talking crap about you in the comments and you have an opportunity to either show up as the personality that you decided to be, or to just let it all go and show something bad on social media that could potentially damage your reputation. So your values especially matter when things are not going great. It's your compass of making decisions. This is how I act. This is what I stand for. This is what I believe in, no matter if I have a good day or a bad day. This is how I'm showing up. Okay, that is what values are. And again, they can be aspirational. Let's go into a little bit of an activity. And I want you guys to tell me what values you align to. But I want you guys to take a look at all these words. what are some of the values on this list that you feel like really align to you? Let's go through audience. Now, if you were going to open up a hot dog stand and you could only have one advantage over your competitors, what would it be? Put your answers in the chat. Free bun, self-discipline, audience, quality, service, taste, personality, location, best tasting hot dog, service, personality, fun, homemade buns. Okay. The answer is a starving crowd. You could have the worst hot dogs in the world. They could taste like cardboard, be old meat, terrible, terrible prices, super expensive. You charging $10 a hot dog. Terrible location. You got a street cart, no branding on the side of the street. But if you're the only hot dog in stand in town and the bar closes down, people are starving, the local college game breaks out, you're going to sell out. And so the key lesson here is that you don't want to create demand, you want to channel demand. Okay? You don't want to offer something that nobody wants. You don't want to have to find your audience like a needle in a haystack. You want an audience that is easily found. Okay? You want to channel demand. Now, when you're initially thinking about an audience, there's really just three main markets that every single personal brand creator entrepreneur falls into. Are you going to help people increase their wealth? Are you going to help people improve their health? Or are you going to help people improve their relationships? These are the three buckets that you essentially have to choose from. So right now, what does your gut say? If you're not a creator, if you're already a creator entrepreneur, let me know how you help people, what one of these buckets. And if you're just starting, what does your gut say that like, oh, I want to help people with their relationships. I want to help people with their health. I want to help people with their wealth. So I want to talk to you guys about why startups fail. Now, this is a list that I got that's like really recent. I think it's from this 2024. And the top reasons are no market need, ran out of cash, not the right team. Okay. So what does this tell me? No market need, ran out of cash, not the right team. You have to work on the right idea. Okay. 42% of all startups, and as a creator entrepreneur, you're a startup. You're the LLC of yourself. Okay. A podcast, my LLC is called Podcast Princess LLC. Okay. So 42% of startups fail because of lack of market demand. And so many people try to provide a solution to a specific problem, but the problem is too specific. There's not enough of an audience, and then it's not scalable. So it's the lack of market demand that is the root problem in almost all businesses. And want to know something even crazier is that the next two reasons is all because of the first reason. You run out of cash because nobody's buying your stuff. Nobody's buying your stuff. You can't attract the right team. You can't pay them, and nobody wants to join your company because it's not desirable because nobody's buying your stuff. Nobody knows your brand. So all the reasons add up to you're not working on the right idea. So from the start, you need to work on the right idea. And the way to bulletproof this is by creating an audience first. As a creator entrepreneur, you directly engage with your community, you get to gather feedback from them, and then you tailor products around what they're asking you for. I started an agency because my podcast guests, I never wanted to start an agency. Now my agency makes $3 million or so a year. Okay. I never wanted to start one. But everybody kept asking me, can you do my LinkedIn? Can you do my podcast? Can you do this? And I was like, okay, I'll do it. You guys keep asking me. This is the demand. I'm channeling the demand. I'm not just deciding I'm going to do something. I hear it a lot of times and I'm like, okay, there's obviously demand for this. I'm going to start an agency, right? And I have a lead gen with my podcast already. You put it together, you get it done, right? So as a creator entrepreneur, you get to just decide what you're selling. Now, here's a quote from Dan Henry, which I absolutely love. The easiest way to become a millionaire is to sell what people are already buying and just say it better than your competitors. So this is the other lesson that I want you guys to understand when it comes to like to your offer, the things that you sell, is that you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Sell what other people are selling. You need to have a better personal brand. You need to have a better voice. You need to connect with people better, have better videos, right? Sell what everybody else is already buying, but just do it better with your personal brand. Okay? Say it better with your personal brand. Now, when you're thinking about the right niche, there's four things that you need to consider. Okay. Your audience, and I'm going to say this again, your audience is your choice. Your audience is your choice. Okay. You can decide you're going to sell to broke people who have no job. You can decide you're going to sell to, moms who earn six figures or more, right? Your audience is your choice. So choose wisely. And even if you already started, you can start over. If you have the wrong audience that doesn't have money to buy anything, that's not the best audience. You want to curate an audience. Like, for example, I have an audience of really high achieving entrepreneurs. That enables me to do so much with my monetization because they can afford different things and they desire lots of things and always want to educate themselves and so on. So you want to make sure your audience has buying power. You want to make sure that they have frustrations about something. You want to make sure that they're easy to target. They share the same identities. They hang out in the same places. They like the same things. They have keywords that they align to so that you can easily find them and target them in one place so that your marketing is cheap and effective, right? You want to make sure they have identifiers and that they align to an identity. Okay, so you can target them. And then lastly, it should be growing. So you don't want to, get into a market that's growing, that's shrinking. You want to get into a market that's growing. If you want to be a creator entrepreneur, like I just mentioned, the economy for creator entrepreneurship is growing tremendously. In terms of how you want to take it to the next step as you guys are developing your personal brand, you want to then define your audience. Okay, are they male? Are they female? What is their age? What is their income? Where do they live? What are their interests? What are their pain points? How do you want to transform them? Okay. You just want a general idea of who you want to target. And my recommendation is to go a little bit broad, right? Don't go super niche, go broad. As a creator entrepreneur, the game is in volume. Like I mentioned, you can do the same amount of work for 10K people. You can do the same amount of work for 100K people. You just get paid more if you have 100K who are interested. So the bigger the audience, the more money that you make as a creator entrepreneur. And you can also, we'll learn about this later, but you can have multiple audiences. You can have like 2, 3 buckets of different audiences that you cater to based on the content that you create. You're not just locked into one topic, okay? But I want you guys to think more broad. Niche kind of content is great if you don't really want to be a creator entrepreneur. If you've got something really high ticket and you've got agency services that only it costs $100,000 to work with you and you don't care if you have a huge audience, then you're just like more targeted and you're not a creator entrepreneur. Creator entrepreneurship is about broad audiences, mass audiences, okay? In general. So try to be more broad. The other thing that you want to think about when you're thinking about audience is what is your relationship with your audience? Okay. This was a real aha moment for me. And you need to think about, do you want to be a teacher, an advisor, a friend, a supporter, a role model? Okay. There's many different relationships that you can have with your audience. So look at this list right now. And from your gut, what is your relationship? What does your gut tell you? Who do you want to be? And this also aligns with what is your personality? Are you a supporter, your remote role model? Do you like to teach? What is your personality? What is your relationship with your audience? Mentor, we have partner, friend, role model. Next, we're going to go through personality. Now, personality, the key thing that I want you guys to know about this is that your personality is about your audience. You need to mirror your audience's personality. So if you want to attract cool moms, you got to act like a cool mom. You need to be your audience. People like people who are like them. So you actually want to mirror your audience with your personality. That's your job. So how would you describe your personality in one word? So your brand persona is actually your key personality trait plus your audience relationship. Okay. So for me, that's an inspirational mentor. So if you guys remember what your audience relationship was and your key personality trait, type that in the chat. Now you have your brand persona. And that's something that you can take with you in every interaction on social media. I'm an inspirational mentor. Every time you're creating content, this is who I am. I'm an inspirational mentor. What would an inspirational mentor do? What would an inspirational mentor post about? And lastly, let's talk about impact, how you want to transform your audience. So impact is essentially the key messages that you repeat over and over and over again. What are the things that you want your audience to feel after they read or watch your posts? How do you want to transform your audience? Okay, so let's get some examples of that. So we've got GaryVee. You guys probably already know what he stands for because he's so consistent in his messages to help people stop overthinking and start executing, to prove that kindness, patience, and consistency win long term, to free creators from fear of judgment so they can post with confidence. Okay? Alex Hormozi to turn overwhelmed entrepreneurs into strategic, profitable operators, to show that wealth is built by solving problems and mastering the boring stuff, to replace fluff with frameworks so people can grow real businesses, and Mel Robbins to turn overthinkers into action takers, to build unshakable confidence, and so on, right? So you guys all know what these really famous people stand for because they're so consistent with their messages. So that's what I need you guys to do, to think of 3 things that you're going to be consistent with on social media. Now, let's talk about hacking algorithms. All right, this is, I think, going to be really good, guys. Make sure you take some notes. So tell me, guys, pop quiz, what is the main goal of all social media platforms? The main goal, I didn't see anybody guess it, is to keep users on as long as possible. The main goal of any social media is to keep users on for as long as possible. Okay? Because all these platforms make money with ads, and they only make ads if people see their ads. So they want to keep users as long as possible on their platform. So you need to learn how to play the game. So all social media platforms like Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn, they use an algorithm to send content to their users. And the algorithm decides whether or not your posts are going to be served to other users on the platform. And the platform rewards users who keep their connections engaged on the site for as long as possible. So billions of posts per day are processed to make the feed as interesting as possible. And you always need to remember that as your guiding star. I need to keep people on the platform for as long as possible. Now, interest-based algorithms have completely leveled the playing field. So I had the opportunity to interview GaryVee in person. We're going to hear from him on interest-based algorithms. I'm one of the biggest LinkedIn marketing experts. So one of the things that's happening this year is that they're prioritizing interest relevancy over engagement probability. It used to be that you would post something motivational, something inspirational. If people shared it, you'd go viral. Now it's all about posting a specific topic, educating people, and then LinkedIn will match users based on the things they like, the interest graph. Exactly. So I actually wanted you to, can you go super deep on the interest graph? Because I feel like this is the major trend happening with all social media sites. And that's what from your book, I was like, oh, he's right on the money. This is.
Social media for the first decade plus was very simple. It was like email marketing. You would get as many people to follow you as possible, and then you would post, and a percentage of those people would see it. That was the game. And that was easy for me to figure out because I did email marketing in 97, 98, 99 when that was like new. And I was a big winner in that game. That was underpriced attention. I was competing against liquor stores that were making catalogs, but I was getting to the customer for free instead of how much a catalog cost and getting to them faster. It was huge. It was foundational. So I saw the same thing in social. So I amassed big followings. That was the focus. TikTokification of social media, like I talk about in the book. That interest graph algorithm is now going to eat up everything because it's better. It keeps you on the platform longer. Let's use common sense. You go to your Facebook, you're now 27. You went on Facebook at 18. The people you followed are people you met like one night hooking up or at a random party or whatever. And now you're seeing posts of them in Ohio with their aunt. And you're like, I don't give a. But just like email, we don't unsubscribe from our list. We just delete it or archive it. Or like we don't put in the work to clean up our. So you kept seeing you didn't give a fuck about, which made you not spend 4 hours on it. It made you spend 14 minutes on your feed. Then you go to TikTok and you're seeing unlimited that you with. And 4 hours later, you're like, what the just happened? That's good for TikTok. That was bad for Facebook. Now all of them are going to be like TikTok. And every social network is going to have the For You page DNA in them for quite a while now. Maybe forever because it's more humanly true. That's what I focus on. And that's why focus on your niche is about to fuck up everyone. You're going to need to talk about more things than ever that are true to you because you're going to need that content to find more different audiences for you to be as big as you want to be.
So good. So this is like the key thing, guys. The key thing is that everything is turning more like TikTok. Okay. Everything is going to start turning more like TikTok. In the past, when I'd have to do these trainings, I'd have to go, this is the LinkedIn algorithm. This is the Instagram algorithm. This is the face. Now everything's turning into the same algorithm. Everything, YouTube, doesn't matter. Everything is turning into the same algorithm. So in the past, it was the friend graph model. It mattered about who you were connected with. Your feed was like chronological. It was harder for people to get discovered. It was based on like how many followers you had. The more followers, the more reach. None of that is the case anymore. Now you can go viral with 0 followers, okay? In the past, your reach depended on who followed you, and that was the name of the game, having more followers. Now that doesn't really matter. Now it's about the interest graph. So your reach depends on how relevant and engaging your content is. Platforms push content based on interests, not your relationships. You can go viral with 0 followers. Your discovery is driven by the quality of your content, the relevance of your content, how strategic you are about posting the same topics over and over again, and essentially training the algorithm. So the interest graph is fueling things like reels, shorts, YouTube recommendations, right? Explore pages. And the friend graph model is what is powering your feed and stories, right? So the regular feed, a lot of it is still friend graph model, but all this new stuff like reels, shorts, explore pages, that's all TikTokification. That's all interest graph. Okay. And yes, this includes LinkedIn. LinkedIn is totally turning into an interest graph model. So the key thing that you need to understand is that you have to train the algorithm on your topics. If you keep posting all these different topics, you actually are unable to train the algorithm, okay? The algorithm doesn't know what you're an expert on. They don't know what you post about. So you need to be super strategic about training the algorithm on your topics so they can feed your content to the right users. So my recommendation is to start with one topic and then just keep adding on, okay? So you start with one and then you can have 2 big topics, 3 big topics. I think 3 is good, right? Don't go too crazy because then again, you confuse the algorithm. So tell me, guys, in what ways can you signal the algorithm about the topics that you post about? What are the different ways that you can signal the algorithm about the topics that you post about? Keywords, got it. Yep. What else? Tags, yep. Description, okay. Headline, yep. Hooks, yeah. Captions, yep. Locations, yeah. Metadata. Thumbnails, okay. So you guys got a lot of it. So AI is scanning everything. Everything matters with your keywords. So your bio, okay, your profile name, okay? Put the keyword in your profile name. You will get traction because people will find you, right? Keywords in the caption, hashtags, previously posted content. Again, consistency, posting the same type of content. Even if your next post doesn't have a lot of keywords, you already trained the algorithm on what you stand for, right? The text, your captions in your videos are scanned by AI. Even your spoken word is scanned by AI. So all these things need to be consistent and you need to be strategic and you need to think proactively about all the different keywords, right? So in a lot of my trainings, I have my students write their main keyword and then all the sub keywords related to that keyword. And then that's their keyword cloud for that topic that they then put on every single post, right? So all these things matter. Now, let's talk about ranking signals. So there's a couple different ranking signals that all social media platforms use, okay? I'm just going to build this out. Engagement probability. Actually, let me just go one by one. Engagement probability. So that is basically how likely the algorithm is going to feed your content to other users based on the engagement, how often people like, comment, share, or watch it, okay? Next is interest relevancy. This is based on your topic. So the algorithm is going to match users with people who are interested in that topic based on their historical behavior, the past posts they liked, liking previous similar content creators, and so on. And then personal connection. Now, again, this is the one that's the platforms are using less and less. This is what social media started as. Now platforms are moving away from this. And this is basically the relevancy of your personal connection. Are you DMing them? Are you tagging these people? Are they commenting on your stuff? If so, in their regular feed, they're going to see your stuff. If so, you're going to pop up in their stories, right? So the regular feed, the regular stories, will become prioritized for the people that you DM with, that you tag, that you comment with. Okay. Now, again, all these social media platforms are becoming more and more like each other. So now it's awesome because you just need to understand like the basic principles of all these things. So engagement probability is the past engagement with similar content creators, how fast you're getting engagement when somebody sees your post, right? Your engagement rate, the velocity of that engagement when you put up a post. Are people commenting, sharing? Also, all these different actions are weighted differently. So always saves and shares are weighted the highest, right? Likes, comments are also are weighted a little bit less, but they matter, right? Even clicks on the post, dwell time, how long people are looking at the post is also a viral action that is weighted differently. But saves and shares are by far on every platform the most highest viral action. And then lots of long comments, comment conversations are always weighted really highly. Okay. So your historical performance usually matters. So if you're already an influencer that's getting lots of engagement, the algorithm is going to feel comfortable serving your content because you keep users on for a long time, right? They like you, so they're going to push your stuff. But if people log on, off, or report you when they see their stuff, the algorithm's not going to share your stuff. Your hook retention, how long people are watching your videos. Are they staying for longer than 3 seconds? Are they watching your video through? Are they completing your videos? Are they watching it over and over again? Right? Their post-view behavior. Are they staying on the platform or logging off after they see your stuff? And your engagement diversity. Is it promoting comments, shares, saves? The algorithm loves that. All different types of engagement diversity. Okay? So again, all these algorithms are becoming very similar. Now, interest relevancy is the algorithm deciding that the user is interested in your content. So is the user interested in similar post content? Have they shared or saved content with those topics? Do they have shared interests or skills with the creator? Do they have keywords in their content that is similar to the keywords that you post in your content? As the author, are you an expert? Have you been posting about the same consistent topics? Are you an expert that they feel comfortable serving to users? What hashtags are being used in the post? What metadata, right? You can put different tags in your metadata on a lot of these platforms, and so on. So these are the different interest relevancy factors. No, these slides will not be shared. You've got to be on the call to get it. And then lastly, personal connection. So are you following each other? Are you DMing each other? Platforms like LinkedIn, you can see if you've got the same similar work experience, school, location. Are you tagging each other and so on? So again, personal connection is becoming less and less relevant as these platforms really lean into interest relevancy and engagement probability. So this was a masterclass in algorithms, and we're going to go into a quiz, make sure that you guys got it. So quiz time. What determines who sees your content in an interest graph model? A, who follows you. B, who shares your content. C, what the user watches, likes, and interacts with. And D, who you tag. Okay, we have a smart group here. What the users watches, likes, and interacts with. The interest graph is built on user behavior, not relationships. Platforms show your content to users who engage with similar topics, even if they don't follow you. Okay, true or false? You need a large following to go viral on an interest graph platform. You need a large following to go viral on an interest graph platform. False. Even creators with 0 followers can go viral. Okay? Leveled the playing field, guys. We are in an awesome time to be a creator. Okay, which of the following combinations would trigger the algorithm to increase distribution? A, likes and early comments from followers. B, high completion rate, saves and shares. C, use of 30 hashtags plus peak time posting. D, long caption and niche tags. Oh, you guys are having trouble with this one. Some of you guys got it. A lot of you guys got it. B, high completion rate, saves and shares. Okay, so these are the highest viral actions on social media now. Okay, people watching your video through, saving and sharing. This is going to signal really strong engagement. And this is going to mean that the user really enjoys these interests. They're going to start seeing more of your content. If somebody saves and shares your content, even if they're not following you, they're going to keep seeing your posts. Okay? So that's the goal. You need people to share and save. Which of the following weakens your interest relevancy? Which of the following weakens your interest relevancy signal over time? A, posting once a week. B, constantly switching topics or formats. C, not responding to comments. D, not using hashtags. Okay. The answer is B, switching topics. That's going to confuse the algorithm. Okay. All right. Moving on to content strategy. This is my content formula, guys. First, you want to educate or entertain with consistent topics. So that means you just want to provide valuable, educational, entertaining topic related to the topic that you decided. And then you're going to repeat those impact statements. Remember when we had the personal branding workshop, you're going to have 3 different messages that you repeat over and over and over again. You barely change them over time. And you're going to repeat those topics, repeat those messages, those lessons, and educate and entertain. This is going to lead to saves. Okay. You're going to optimize for saves. Valuable information that is meaningful for people, that helps people. People are going to save it. Then you want to inspire and be authentic. Okay. You want to have personal stories. You want to be raw. You want people to know about who you are. You want to deepen the relationship with stories behind the scenes. That's going to lead to shares. So what triggers shares? It's when people feel that they align with what you're talking about. People get really emotionally connected to stories. That's going to trigger long comments, shares, people really feeling that they know you, they trust you. Stories is what's going to power shares. Okay. And then lastly, when you're ready to monetize, you need promo periods and offers. And you're going to create this type of content, entertaining, educational, valuable content that's just leading to whatever offer that you have. And you don't have to do this until you're ready to monetize. So for 2 years, you could just focus on the side with the top 2. And then when you're ready to monetize, you start the promo periods and offers, and that's optimizing for sales. So this is just a very simple content strategy framework that you can align to. And now we're going to go on with the psychology of attention. Okay. Okay. So what type of content engages the most human senses as once, making it the most powerful tool for emotional influence and brand recognition? Your look, somebody said. Stories, videos, stories. Kind of a mix of both, I would say. It's videos, right? So videos are the future, guys. Everything is video now. All social media is just powered by video. TikTok is crushing it, right? Reels are crushing it. Videos on social media get 12 times more shares than text and images combined. And there's a couple reasons why. Number one, we process video much faster. Okay. We can absorb video messages through sight, sound, emotion. We just process it so much faster than text. So you actually basically just embed yourself in somebody's brain when you have video. It actually increases long-term memory. People remember videos more than text and things like that. They learn more from videos than text. So first of all, you process it faster. Second of all, it tricks people into thinking that they know you. It tricks people into thinking that they're your friends, something called mirror neurons. Okay. So it makes people feel like they're interacting with you personally. They know you better. I'm sure, guys, if you guys listen to my podcast and this is the first time you're on my webinar, now suddenly you feel like you know me way better, right? Because I'm on video. You guys are getting my mannerisms, my interactions, my energy, right? So it's just a whole different experience when you're on video. Live video or pre-recorded video doesn't matter. Videos help people become from strangers into friends. Okay, it builds emotional connection really fast. And speaking of emotional connection, your energy and your emotions in your videos are contagious. Okay, so your energy in your videos, they elevate your audience's mood. People will unconsciously want to see you again because it's like a dopamine hit. If you make people feel good after they watch your videos, they feel better, they feel more encouraged, they feel more inspired, they feel like they learned something, they're going to just crave more and more of you. So videos elevate mood and they create a positive emotional association with your brand. Okay, so now that you know why videos are so important, we're going to go into a demo with Connor from OpusClip. And OpusClip is the #1 AI video tool. And I am just going to go through a couple reasons why OpusClip is so cool. And then I'm going to hand it over to Connor to go through an actual demo with you guys. And by the way, guys, we still have like half an hour of content or more left. So make sure you stick around for the demo and for after. So Opus Clip is awesome. They've got this new Clip Anything tool, and essentially it helps you find specific moments in your content. So if you have long form content like a podcast or any videos, you went on vacation, you took a really long videos, now you don't have to sift through all that content. You can just tell Opus Clip and give it a prompt and say, like, find the most funny moment, find the most energetic moment, find the happiest moment, the saddest moment, and it will literally just send you clips that you can go through. And then you can create teasers, highlight reels, and its AI will seamlessly stitch everything for you. And it can turn it into very short form content for reels or like medium sized content, like 10, 15-minute length. So it's super awesome. It lets you do whatever you need to do for your viral videos. Again, at YAP Media, we use it throughout our process and we've been using it for years. And Opus Clip just keeps getting better and better. So if you used it 3 years ago, 2 years ago, it is a totally different tool now. It is so advanced. And some of the other cool things that we love is that it helps you identify the most compelling hooks. You can have animated captions. And my favorite is the AI B-roll. So it creates all these awesome B-roll images so that you don't have to go sift through, different platforms to try to find the right B-roll anymore. And this has saved my team so much time and it makes our videos so engaging, having all these B-rolls pop up in our different videos to keep them super engaging. So we're going to just get into it right now. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and Connor, you can take over.
Awesome. All right. So first and foremost, for those of you guys that are not familiar with Opus Clip and how it works, uh, basically all you have to do is you grab the link to the video that you want to clip. You drop it in here into our bar here, and it will populate some information for you in terms of how you want to get your content clipped. Here we go. First and foremost, we have two models. As Hala mentioned, we have Clip Basic and Clip Anything. Clip Basic is really for if you have something that you really just wanted to clip based on the transcript. So Clip Basic is blind. It doesn't really watch your video in context. It still will be identify the speakers and be able to reframe it properly. But it's not going to be able to holistically understand in the context the way that Clip Anything will. So I recommend you guys use Clip Anything unless you have a pretty straightforward conversation that you are trying to put in there. So use the Clip Anything model. You drop your link in here. And then the rest of it, usually I just leave it up to the AI. I think our AI does a pretty good job at identifying the moments. But you can, if you find that it's consistently not quite giving you the format that you're looking for, you can sort of pick the genre specifically, and it'll help fine tune your results. You can also pick the time frame if you only want a specific chunk of the video. And as Hala mentioned, you can prompt the AI here. Now, the final thing we want to do before we launch is pick our template. So you can build out all these brand templates with a bunch of customized features. You can have a wide layout, vertical layout, sort of whatever layouts you want, whatever caption styles you want, emoji styles, all that kind of stuff you can set up in your brand templates. In this case, I want a vertical template because I'm just clipping for 90 seconds or less. And then I click Get Clips in one click, and the clips will be ready in 5 to 10 minutes. So I've already run this project, so switching over to here. I think the number one thing that I really want to communicate with you guys today is that Opus Clip is a really, really helpful tool for just getting you off the ground, getting started, getting content out there consistently, filling in all those gaps, making sure that you're putting things out there on a day-to-day basis and keeping up with that consistency. That being said, it's not a end-all be-all tool, right? Some clips turn out great, other clips need a little bit of work. We've built the tool with all of the features you'll need in order to make those adjustments or edits. So that's where I'm going to head here. One thing I wanted to show you guys really quick actually is a feature that's really awesome that we just added is auto import. It's this button down here. You click auto import and then you connect your account. If you connect your account, like if Hala connects her account to this, every time she has a new upload, Opus Clip will automatically ingest it, and your clips from that episode will already be ready to go in your account the next time you log in. That way you don't have to actually do the process of manually inputting the content if you don't want to. Now going back into the project here. So from this hour-long conversation that Hala had with Dave Ramsey, we ended up with 39 clips. And each clip as you can see, is given a score. Now, if you click into the clip, it actually gives you breakdowns on why it liked or didn't like that clip with with a little explanation that's specific to the clip. So if you go through them, you'll see that the explanations for each of these factors, and the factors are ranked in order of importance, um, is written up here in here by the AI. So you can actually go through and sort of see what it's great for ideation. It's great for sort of figuring out what the AI tends to like in your content and doesn't, that kind of thing. Very, very effective at that. So let's just watch this first clip that it gave a good score to.
Is there any like pivotal moments where you're like, wow, like this is going to be way more than just a radio show? Like, what were some of the key moments that you remember?
I'm like you, I'm an entrepreneur at heart. And so we see a need and fill it. And I'm looking around going, getting people out of debt. This is not exactly a niche market.
Is there any like
So again, speaking back to the kind of things that Hala was talking about earlier about branding, right? How do you stay true to your message? How do you communicate your message in an efficient way, but also how do you actually like stay true to your core message? That's what Dave's doing right here, right? So you can see him putting it into practice. And I think obviously this clip is not a long clip. It's not a complicated clip, but it's very clear, right? It has a story. Hala asks him, sort of how did you get into this whole thing? And he gives you an explanation, right? It's only 18 seconds, but I can tell you right now, I know that this clip will perform on social media just because it does have a provocative opening. It does give you a full story, and it is something that people are more likely to watch through, right? As Hala said, that watch through and completion and save rate, all those kind of things are really important. So having a shorter clip isn't necessarily a bad thing, especially if it's concise like this. Now, going into it, right? There's a lot of things you can do with the content once you've gotten it. In this case, there isn't a whole lot I would do here to adjust it. If you wanted to, like Hala said, you could add in some AI B-roll just to give it a little bit of variety, or add in an AI hook if you thought that the hook wasn't clean enough and you wanted to add in some extra context. The final thing that I would do here is honestly just add some branding. So you can go into upload here. You can add in any kind of logos or things like that, or you can add it on the brand template level as well, and add in your logos, add in an end card, or if you want to add an end card with a call to action, anything like that, I would add in here. As soon as it's ready to go, you click save up here and then you hit export. And now probably the most powerful thing about OpusClip is our auto scheduler. So once your clip is ready to roll, you can just connect all of your various accounts, right? Like if I hit add account here, you can connect to pretty much every social media platform that you would want to post to. And then from there, you can basically just select which platforms you want it to go out on. You can select the timing, so you can schedule it out into the future. You can schedule out as many posts as you want into the future. It comes with pre-written titles and hashtags and descriptions in the case of YouTube. Obviously, you can edit these. You can add in links. You can do whatever you want in here. But the fact that it does sort of give you that starting point does make your life a lot easier in terms of copy and all of that. So basically, this is really the tool that, what we tried to build here is a tool that really gives you no excuses, right? It makes life so easy in terms of being able to take anything that you've recorded, whether it's a Zoom call, a webinar just like this, something that at that time you were a guest on a podcast, even just a rant from your car, taken on your phone. You can take any of that content, throw it in here, and you'll have something that's ready to post in minutes. So just being able to start that process of being consistent, starting to build your personal brand, starting to spread that message, share your voice, OpusClip really makes it a lot easier to do that. Now, getting into the editing a little bit, here's an unreleased video that we have from our YouTube of some upcoming features we have. And I just wanted to show you guys sort of some other clips and just sort of understand a little bit better about how to edit them. So going in here really quick, let's check out this clip.
I have an exclusive. Yeah, so many creators have requested to us to talk about how can we further streamline their experience and that they can really schedule a bunch of clips out so they don't have to think about it for at least a week or so. And currently what they're doing is they're manually scheduling every single clip from OpusClip, which can be very cumbersome. I have an exclusive.
So that clip, obviously missing some context. They're talking about our auto import feature, but the auto import is not mentioned in the clip. I can understand why the AI decided to start with we have an exclusive because it sounds exciting and engaging, but if you feel like it's missing that context, there's a few things you can do. So first and foremost, the first thing that you can do is you can add an AI voiceover. This is a really popular option where if you just want to give it some quick context at the beginning of the clip and you don't want to deal with the complications that come with, I don't know why this isn't loading the page. Um, the if you do just want to add some context to the clip, the one way to do it is to just add a AI hook. So at the beginning of the clip, you can add in an opening card or an extra segment, and then add a clip, add a script that just says something like um, Opus Clips new auto import feature is here. And then we have a bunch of different voices. Let's choose a random one. Charlie, let's choose Charlie. Uh, and then you click generate AI hook, and it'll add in the hook into the beginning of it. Now, it will copy over the audio of the beginning part of the clip. So that's why I mentioned if you don't want to copy over that initial audio, you can always go through and just add a beginning card to it so it doesn't have this issue.
Opus Clip's new auto import feature is here.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, Opus Clip's new auto import feature is here. Right, it adds in that as an opening hook so that now we know what they're talking about.
So many creators have.
Now, another thing you can do if you don't want to do that, right, is you can always just add a section. So let's just go in here. So here we go. The other thing you've heard about is the auto scheduler. So let's just add that into the clip. All you have to do is just you hit that add a section button, you go in, you get the full transcript right there. So the whole transcript is there. It's really easy to see. It's really easy to engage with. You have the auto import. Now, you notice that it chose this layout. Let's see why. The other thing we've heard a lot about is auto scheduler. Have an exclusive. So we saw that, okay, auto scheduler is the reason that it chose this is because we had a banner that came up on the screen in the original video that introduces auto scheduler. Now, obviously, if I blow that up on someone's face and it switches to that part, right, from the first clip, it's going to look pretty bad. So it automatically switches it to this mode. And then okay, we don't want the in here because it doesn't work. So let's get rid of the So we click on the right here. We go to, we can just remove the caption, but in this case, you want to remove the caption and the video. So let's watch it again from the start now that it's been removed. The other thing we've heard a lot about is auto scheduler. We have an exclusive.
Yeah, so many creators.
All right, and then I don't like that original. Yeah, so I can just adjust this right here a little tiny bit and just bring it in a little bit so it's a little bit smoother of a transition. Let's watch this transition.
An exclusive.
Yeah, so that's a lot better. All right, so now that that's all good to go, the next thing we want to do is, so like now we have the right timing, we have the introduction, all of that looks good, but obviously Ada is not an amazing speaker like Hala or Dave Ramsey are. There's a lot of ums and uhs in there. So let's go ahead and clean those up. We go to AI Enhance, and all we have to do is just click Remove Filler Words and Remove Pauses. And so what it was able to do is it went through, and you can see it broke out all these parts where she said the ums and ahs and cleaned it up. So let's watch it again without those. The other thing we've heard a lot about is auto scheduler. An exclusive.
Yeah, so many creators have requested to us to talk about how can we further streamline their experience and that they can really schedule a bunch of clips out so they don't have to think about it for at least a week or so.
So it removed those pauses. If you feel like the pauses, the way that it cut it is a little bit awkward, you can always go in here and make some minor adjustments to the cut points to clean it up. But yeah, basically from there, your content is pretty much ready to go. Let's go ahead and play around with the B-roll really quick just to see what it creates for us. All you literally have to do is just open this AI B-roll, click auto generate B-roll, and it's that simple. The AI is going to go nuts now and put some B-roll in the clip so that we can check out how it looks. And from there, I think you guys will pretty much be ready to go. That's all it really takes to really take advantage of Opus Clip. It's really that simple.
Amazing. I have to say, Opus Clip is so cool. It's so easy to use. My team uses it every single day. We've been using it in our process for years, and it just keeps getting better and better. So, Connor, you've done an amazing job with this as a creator. Thank you so much for creating Opus Clip. It's just helped so much, and it's going to help all the entrepreneurs on the call do better. So, I want to just make sure, guys, I'm going to drop that link one more time. If you enjoyed this session, if you want more sessions like this, you've got to sign up for the free trial and use Opus Clip. You get 300 free credits. You get a month free plus bonus 300 free credits, which is amazing. So say thank you to Opus Clip. Thank you to Connor for sponsoring this webinar. Thanks, Connor. I'm going to just share my screen now.
Yep, absolutely. And I think the main thing, that we really, really want to share with all you guys is that it really has this whole process of content creation, as Hala's been telling you guys, is not something that's exclusive to some elite class of people that are like amazing on camera, right? I'm terrible on camera. A lot of people I know are terrible on camera and have become very successful, not just using Opus Clip, but just being out there and building their personal brand. And our mission at Opus Clip really is and has been to build your personal brand. This is not, we have solutions and features and things like that that are for people that are already well established and doing awesome like Hala. But really who we built this for is people that maybe are just getting started and are trying to figure out, how do I start building that personal brand? We want to make it so much easier for people to be able to share their stories. That's what Opus Clip is all about. So please, please, please go out there, give it a real shot, stay consistent with it for a solid few months, and I can promise you that you will see some awesome results. So yeah, thank you again so much, guys.
Thank you, Connor. Thank you so much. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about viral video strategies. So something that I mentioned earlier is that you need to create the right energy with your content, okay? You are essentially inviting people into your room and you want them to keep coming back to your room. If they come to your room and you do a bad job, they're like, I don't ever want to waste my time in this room again, right? If they scroll over, the algorithm's not going to send you their content either. You need people to stick with your content. So let's hear from Kat Norton. Kat Norton is Miss Excel. She's a huge influencer on TikTok, on Instagram. She's done an incredible job with her personal brand. She's like the definition of a creator entrepreneur, and she's going to tell us about why creating the right energy is so important. So, how soon did things take off for you? Like, did you go viral right away? Did it take months, years? Like, what was it like for you?
So the whole thing happened pretty quickly. And I do attribute a lot of that to the energetics that happened behind the scene, where I was able to actually show up fully authentically in what I wanted to create and was ready to receive the attention back. Where normally I grew up with an anxiety disorder. I hated having any attention on me. I had to do a lot of overhauling to get to a spot where I wasn't going to subconsciously limit what was able to come into my field. So it was by the fourth video to that DMX song, X Gon' Give It To Ya, I did the X lookup function. And that one, it was so good. That one got 100,000 views right away. And I was like, oh my gosh, because this at the time was my secret TikTok account because I still had a corporate job. I wasn't really sure what I was allowed to do. So for me, I wasn't like, hey, everybody, like my video. I just, only my mother and my boyfriend knew about this secret account, Miss Excel. So for me, when that video hit, it got shown to all these people I work with. It got shown to all these people I know. I'm getting all these messages like, is this you? And I'm like, oh, maybe it's me. And then within 3 weeks of that, I had my first video go viral on TikTok. And next thing you know, I looked down at my phone and within a couple of days, I had 100,000 followers. And that's where I was like, whoa. Now what do I do? Because everything was going on in the news too at this time. This was like June, July of 2020 that TikTok's getting banned, all the things. So I was like, well, I gotta hedge my risk out here. I'm gonna create the Instagram account. So I created an Instagram, started posting on there. And then within a few months, both accounts had gone viral various times. And we had a few 100,000 followers across the different platforms.
That's so amazing. Like, it's so rare to have somebody who just kind of skyrockets on social media right away. Why don't we stick on why you think that happened? You just alluded to the fact that you came on with really good energy, and energy is really magnetic. So can you talk to us about the importance of ensuring that you have the right type of energy when you go film your videos?
Absolutely. Because It's one of those things where I view content as simply an energy exchange. My energy is coming through to you on your phone or vice versa, and you are the recipient of that energy, right? So my job as a creator is I want my energy through the roof. I want it in its most heightened, sparkly, magnetic state, because one, that's what's going to stop someone, right? Like think about a bunch of people walking down the street. If there is someone that is magnetic and like fully just, pure joy and like happiness. And that was something I worked on myself too, to get myself to that place where like, that's the type of person and that's the type of energy where you're going to stop and be like, whoa, what's that person doing? Like, oh, why do I feel like attracted to them? Not in like a sexual way, but in like a, like an energetic way. It's magnetism. And so that's something I was learning early on is practices I can do behind the scenes. And a lot of that was where the Kundalini yoga came into play, doing like different yogic technologies and breath work and things where my aura would become bigger, my energy would become bigger. And that way it would kind of stop you on the phone. So whether it was like the polarity of the video, like I'm looking at Excel and a girl dancing at once, what is this? Or just the energy behind it, right? Like if I looked really bored or like I was having a bad time, I wouldn't want to hang out. It's kind of like creating a little room with someone when you're watching a piece of content and you're like entering their room. It's like, do I want to go in that person's room? Like, you want to make sure the energy's there, you're inviting, and you're actually providing value. So that was something too, where I'd spend a lot of time researching the tips and tricks, making sure that one, people were learning, but two, also that we were having that entertainment factor, because each video too can bring someone's energy up or down. So if you're watching dark things that are going to bring down your frequency, bring down your vibration, that's something that's, going to create more negative feelings in the body. My job is I'm trying to lift that up on the planet, right? Like I want to make you smile. I want to make you laugh.
All right. So how soon did things moving on? You guys got the point with her. So basically emotions is energy. Okay. So your energy is magnetic. Your content is an energy exchange. You can't come on video. You got to just get yourself in the zone because people can feel your energy. People remember how they make you feel. So much of what I said in this webinar wasn't even what I said. It was my way that I spoke that made you guys feel excited. Okay, right? I said great things, but a lot of it was just the energy. I was like just feeding my positive energy into you guys and inspiring you guys, right? So your energy is really going to impact your audience and shape how they perceive you and everything that you say. Okay. So you want to create a welcoming room. You want people to stay as long as possible. You want people to want to come back. If they stay long, the algorithm's going to make sure that they have the opportunity to come into your room again. Okay? So the next thing is that you want to make them feel something. Okay? You do this essentially through storytelling. If you want to bring emotions out into people, you've got to tell stories. You got to show your wins. You've got to show your failures, your struggle. You got to make things memorable with stories. And that's how you're going to do it. So you need to think about what are all the different stories that I have? How can I communicate these stories in my posts, in my videos? And storytelling is really important. So a couple of reasons why storytelling is so powerful is because people remember information better than stories. People connect with stories, and your stories trigger their stories. So when you tell a story, it makes people remember oh, so that happened to me before. And then they want to write in a comment about how they relate, or they want to give you advice. And it triggers their own stories and emotions, and it triggers to get them to comment and share with their own perspectives on the story. So stories is what really draws out this type of engagement and emotion and interactivity in your community. So when it comes to telling your stories, you need a couple foundational stories. Number one is your hero story. And I did an example of that in the beginning of the session. So I went through that whole hero story thing, not only just to tell you about myself, but it was actually a way to train you guys so that you can do the same thing with your stories. Okay? So this is actually from Russell Brunson, and a hero story has 6 elements. So number one is a relatable start. So how did you start off? How can you show your audience that you started off just like them? Okay. Number 2 is your struggles and setbacks. What challenges, mistakes, frustrations did you have? How did you, overcome these challenges? How is it not so easy? What did you learn? Your aha moment. So what was the key realization that you had? that made you discover the solution. Then you explain what the solution was, how you overcame the obstacles, your proof of success. Do you make a lot of money now? Do you work with, really powerful people or brands? What is your social proof? And then how do you help other people do the same? Right? So, as your personal brand, this is the first story that you need to define. Once you know what your key messages and stuff are, okay, how did you get to that point? Right? What is your hero story yourself? Why should people listen to you? And then you can use that hero story. Somebody mentioned in the beginning of the call, wow, you really know your story so well. Yeah, because I say it on every podcast I'm on. I say it on, and I can kind of tailor it. Today, I kind of tailored it to being a creator entrepreneur. Sometimes I tailor it to being a podcaster or a LinkedIn influencer, right? So you can kind of tweak it, but it's the same story, right? So this is also called an epiphany bridge story. And this is something that you need to create for your personal brand. So relatable start for me was before Young and Profiting, I was young and dreaming. I wanted to be a radio TV personality. I wanted to be a TV star, right? Then it didn't happen. I was too early to become a creator entrepreneur. The creator economy didn't exist yet. I got fired from my jobs. My career was in other people's hands, right? I had no way to make money aside from getting a job. Then my aha moment was, okay, it's 2018. Podcasts are popping. Social media is a new game now. There's influencers. I can become an influencer. I can become a creator entrepreneur. It's the right time. That was my aha moment. Then I explained the solution. Okay, I decided to be consistent, start a podcast, start a LinkedIn, posted every day, didn't stop no matter if I didn't have the audience yet. I just provided value. Proof of success. Now I make 100K a month. I have sponsorships. I have an agency. All the people I used to look up to are now my clients, right? So that's my social proof. And now I'm going to teach you how to do it in this webinar. So everybody needs a hero story. Now, some people are asking, what do I do if I don't have the social proof? Your relationship with your audience in the start can be more of like a reporter, right? You don't need to be the expert. You don't need to be your relationship could be the supporter. We're learning this together. Come join me on this journey as I learn XYZ, right? And then soon enough, you'll have your proof of success, right? So your relationship can change on your journey. When I first started my podcast, I wasn't successful yet. I was a reporter. Now I'm an inspirational mentor, right? Okay. So something else that you want to do, and by the way, the template for this is in the free workbook that everybody who's on right now is going to get, right? So this is in the free workbook so that you can create your own hero story. Next, you want to create a story journal. Okay. So this is basically thinking about your life in order, chronological order from when you were born to when you're in middle school, high school, college, marriage, kids, work. And you want to think about all the different stories that you tell. Everybody has 30 to 40 different stories, the different milestones in your life, and the stories that you tell along with them. Did you get fired? Did you have a transformation where you lost a lot of weight? Did you lose somebody that you love? Did you have a health scare and you overcame it? These are the types of stories that people want to hear about. So you want to write down all your stories and think about how you want to position yourself. Because again, your brand is how people perceive you. So you need to think about how you want to tell these stories. Do you want to tell these stories with a victim mindset? Or do you want to tell these stories with a winner's mindset, right? What lessons do you want to draw out in these stories? And you want to write them all down and have a repository. It's called a story journal. I do this for all of my clients. Once you have that, you can then hand that over to AI or your team or whatever and create an unlimited amount of content, right? Create video scripts, whatever. And you want to tell the same stories over and over and over again. So you're going to repeat your impact statements, the 3 statements that you're going to repeat over and over again, your key transformations and lessons. And then you also want to repeat the same stories over and over again so people know who you are and how you ended up where you were and you connect with them emotionally through these stories. So you want to write down all these stories and then use them in your content over and over again. And then next, we're going to talk about being relatable. So being relatable is really important on social media. You want to make sure that your audience feels like, oh man, I can relate. That's me, right? She's just like me. I can be like her. She's not unapproachable. You don't want to be perfect. You want to show up messy. You guys are seeing me in my Airbnb house right now, ditch perfection. You want to show up Be the real you. You want to be relatable and trustworthy. Now, the best piece of advice I got about being trustworthy online came from Rory Vaden. I never forgot this conversation, so I want you guys to hear it. And if you guys like the content that I'm sharing in these clips, Young and Profiting Podcast is my baby. Make sure you subscribe to Young and Profiting Podcast, write me a review. If you guys like these episodes, you can just go listen to the full episodes on my channels, right? So I'm just showing you little clips, but all of these are available on YouTube and on Apple.
To answer the question, how do you best build trust online? We would say, how do you best build trust offline? If you made a list of the top 10 people you trust in your life, like would trust with your life or with your kids, right? Like I've got 2 toddlers. So like if you go, who would you trust? There's a good chance that the people on that list, like you would trust with your banking information or your, like that kind of stuff. There's a good chance you know those people intimately. And when I first got on social media, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so stupid. Why is everyone posting pictures of what they ate? And then I realized, oh, because we trust people that we know intimate details about their life. Now, that doesn't mean you have to post pictures of your kids, right? There's a lot of reasons why not to and a lot of fears why not to. AJ and I happen to do it a lot. We happen to share those things occasionally. So we trust people that we know details about their life, right? If I see someone walking down the alley, I've never seen them before. I don't know anything about the person. I don't care if it's a man, a woman, or their age. Like my spidey senses go up. I'm in an alley with a stranger. And that's how it is, right? Who's going to buy from a stranger? Nobody. So they got to know something about you. Who else do we trust in real life? Well, we tend to trust people who we learn from. We trust pastors. We trust lawyers. We trust accountants. We trust doctors. We trust experts. We trust people. We trust teachers. We trust mentors. We trust counselors. We trust people who teach us things. We tend to trust people who entertain us, right? They make us laugh. They make us inspired. We see them on movies. I mean, think about that. We trust movie stars who we've never met, but we see them a lot. We tend to trust people who encourage us in our darkest moments. The people who were there when you had your heartbreak, when you didn't get into that school or you didn't get that job or the relationship fell apart or you lost money on that deal. The people who were there to encourage us in that moment. Those are the people we trust because it's like we've been through the fire, right? I know you. You got my back. So when you roll that forward to online, we have three simple strategies that we teach. We call them the 3 E's for content marketing. First of all, educate, encourage, and entertain. We typically say, your feed should be more of what you do, and it should educate, encourage, or entertain.
Yeah. So how powerful is that? Like, I never thought of that. That the people that you trust in real life, you know everything, you know their kids' names, you know who their husband is, you know where they live, you know what kind of food they like. So, of course, it makes sense that if you tell people personal details about your life, that they're going to trust you more. So, on social media, you can't just post educational content. You can't just say, do this, do that, do this. You need to also show them, and I like this personally, and I go out with my friends, and this is my family. And you've got to be personal so they feel that they can trust you. Okay. So I loved that piece of advice. It was definitely transformative for me. Again, the same way that you build trust online and offline, it's the same thing. You got to you got to give personal details about your life. Okay. You can't be afraid of sharing personal details. And you do that through storytelling and telling stories and just sharing. Okay. Next, kind of common sense. You want to align to trends. If there's any trends going on, hot topics, align to them. Okay. Don't miss the wave. All right, let's move on to getting into the right mindset. This is my favorite section of class, and I think it's going to leave us feeling really positive, really clear on what we want. So I am excited to get into it. Benjamin Hardy, I've interviewed him about 4 or 5 times on my show, and he is somebody that I respect so much, and he's transformed the way that I think about just everything. And so we're going to learn about gain thinking. And as a creator entrepreneur, this is so important to learn because this is what's going to keep you going even in the start when you're just growing and not getting any traction yet. Okay?
It's kind of funny that I launch a book. I'm a professional author. I release my first book. Like I've never written a full book before. I released this book and to my publisher, they were very happy with the results. But for me in my head, I just totally felt like a loser. And I guess, yeah, I mean, I guess from there, I mean, if you want me to, I mean, I could explain the gap in the gain. But yeah, I mean, that's basically where I was at. I guess I've learned to measure my own self differently. So the gap in the gain is something I learned from Dan Sullivan. I read his little book on the subject, maybe actually it was in 2018. I read his little book and I was still blogging back then. And it was just an idea I loved. And I thought if I ever get a chance to write books with Dan Sullivan, I'm going to make this a major book. And the idea is very simple. It's kind of funny that I launch a book. I'm a professional author. I release my first book. Like I've never written a full book before. I released this book and to my publisher, they were very happy with the results. But for me in my head, I just totally felt like a loser. And I guess, yeah, I mean, I guess from there, I mean, if you want me to, I mean, I could explain the gap in the gain. But yeah, I mean, that's basically where I was at. I guess I've learned to measure my own self differently. So the gap in the gain is something I learned from Dan Sullivan. I read his little book on the subject, maybe actually it was in 2018. I read his little book and I was still blogging back then. And it was just an idea I loved. And I thought if I ever get a chance to write books with Dan Sullivan, I'm going to make this a major book. And the idea is very simple. I mean, it's basically the idea that as a person, we all feel happy or sad based on how we measure ourselves and how we measure our experiences. The reason I went into a deep depression after I had made a monumental achievement, I mean, I'd never done that before. It was totally new. And yet I felt like a loser because I was in the gap. I was measuring what was against what I thought it should be, which is an ideal. When you're in the gap, you're measuring yourself against your ideals, which are always changing, always moving. Whereas the gain is the opposite. You measure yourself backward against where you were before. Truth was, is I was way further than I'd ever been. And if I was just measuring myself backward against my past self, competing only against my past self, I was radically further than I ever was. And I just did something huge. And so I'm learning and I've learned over the years to be more in the gain. And it's a far more enjoyable, far happier experience.
Okay, so let me explain that in my own words here. You have two options. You can measure yourself based on your future self, or you can measure yourself from your past. Okay. So your future self is always changing. So right now I'm a top 100 podcaster. I'm a CEO. I have a network or whatever. Now I have this goal of I want to create $100 million company. Okay. And if I'm just measuring myself on this, I want to create $100 million company, I'm in the gap because I'm not there yet. And I'm thinking, oh, I see everybody else, I don't have 1 million followers on Instagram yet. I don't have why isn't my YouTube popping off as much as my audio did? How come I'm not, I've been doing this for 7 years. This girl came out last year and she's already got 1 million followers. Like I've been working on this for so long. Why is it taking me? So I'm in the gap, right? But if I look at myself from the past, oh my God, I'm a top 100 podcaster. I started with 0 followers. I'm the #1 LinkedIn podcaster on LinkedIn. I'm always in the top 10 on my Apple. I get sponsorships like OpusClip and I get paid to do webinars and I transform people's lives and I have job security and I have an agency and I make 60 people work on my team and I can pay all their salaries. Now I'm in the game because I'm measuring myself on my past self. And that's the key thing. You're always growing, right? So you want to measure yourself in the past and you want to do the actions that are going to get you to the future. Okay? So if you find yourself in the gap, that is what's going to mess you up. That is what's going to make you quit. You need to be in the game. You need to think about how have I improved even from last week? You were never your past self. Your past self makes up who you are today. If it wasn't for me building this up in the past 10 years, I would not be where I am right now. I'm always thinking to myself, I'm so thankful I started this podcast. I'm so thankful I just kept going when everybody told me no, and I just did it. and I just sacrificed, right? I'm so thankful because now I have my dream life. Even though I'm not where I want to be yet, I'm doing really well, right? So you want to be in the game. That is the main thing. That is the main thing. So that's that. Now, let's talk about our future self, okay? This is how you figure out the actions that you do today to make you your future self.
My past is, of course, influencing me right now, and my narration of the past, my story of the past, the feelings I have toward my past, the anchors I may have in my past that are unresolved, call it trauma or whatever. But also, my goals are heavily influencing me. Everything about my life right now is a combination of my feelings and my perspectives of my past, and also my excitements or my feelings towards the future. They're certainly not mutually exclusive in terms of being in the game, but also having a future-oriented mindset. Most people who read The Gap and the Gain are very future-oriented people. The gain doesn't stop you, I guess, from having a future. Actually, in my perspective, it helps me to have a future that's more genuinely coming from my own self rather than something that's coming from the outside. Usually people's goals and call it their standards or their ideals actually were fed to them by culture, by society. They don't even, the future that they want actually isn't genuinely intrinsically motivated. And so for me, tapping into the gain just helps me to stop worrying about the outside world as much, stop competing with other people. We all have a future self. What the research shows is that most people, especially the older they get, they stop thinking about their future self very much. Most people, probably 30 and above, assume that even their future self, 10, 20, or 30 years from now, is mostly going to be the same person they are today. So most people don't have huge imagination towards their future self. What the research does show is that your future self is going to be a wildly different person than you think. Even in 5 or 10 years from now, it's going to be hard to fully predict who your future self will be. But if you start imagining it, start thinking about it, and importantly, getting really connected to your future self, who you want to be in the future, you can then start using, obviously, your vision of your future self to guide and direct who you're going to be today. And you can be extremely intentional about it. And so from my standpoint, the best thing to do is get really clear and connected to your future self, who you want to be, get very specific about that, and then use that as, I guess you could say, the North Star for directing everything you're doing here and now. And each and every day as you're moving forward, you're measuring yourself against where you were before. You're measuring yourself backwards, and you're always seeing that by increasingly living intentionally as your future self, you're always outgrowing your past self.
So good. So your future self is going to be very different than who you are today. And the older that we get, the more that we tell ourselves, oh, I already, I'm in my 30s. There's no way I'm not going to be the same person in my 50s. No, you could be wildly different 10 years from now. 10 years ago, I didn't even have a podcast. Now I'm the podcast princess, right? You can be a completely different person. So you need to think about and envision who you're going to be in the future. And then from today, you need to start acting like your future self. You need to do the things your future self would do. You need to create an action plan that's going to get you to your future self. So essentially, you need to have a vision of your future. Who are you going to be in 5, 10 years? Who are you going to be in 20 years? What do you want to accomplish? And then you can make sure that you act in a way that's going to ensure that you create your future self by aligning your identity and your behaviors to what your future self would do. You want to then set measurable goals based on your future self. You want to align your daily habits and decisions with your long-term aspirations. You want to continue to visualize your future self and maintain clarity and motivation. And before you make any decision, you want to ask, what would my future self do? Right? That is going to be your compass of making decisions. Would my future self do this? If not, then don't do it. You want to start acting like your future self. Okay? All right, so let's move on to burnout-proof productivity.
A 2X mindset says is that who I am now, where I'm at right now, I'm just going to do more of that in the future. I'll just double it. And so that is a very non-creative approach to life. It's also a very non-transformative approach. But most people, they take their present self and then they use that to imagine their future self. And so then their future self looks very similar to their present self. And so that's very similar to what happens with the 2X mindset. The 2X mindset says, I'm here right now. Let's just do more of it. I'm just going to do double of that. So the 10X mindset is the opposite. The 10X mindset takes the future first. You literally base the future on imagination. You base the future on what you want, even if that looks insanely different from what your present life is now. Rather than using the present as the basis for the future, you actually literally use your imagined future as the basis for the choices you make in the present. And so that is a far more powerful approach. So just to kind of lay it out, the future actually should be the basis for the present. The future should be the determining factor, or what I would call the filter, for the choices you make in the present. So it's the future that determines the present, not the present that determines the future. We use the 80-20 principle. If you're going to go for 2x growth, what that means is that you only have to change 20% of your life. Like if you want to double, the amount of money you make, or the amount of podcast episodes you've, like your downloads or whatnot. If I want to double the amount of book sales that I have, if I'm going for double, I really don't have to change that much. I can actually keep 80% of who I am. I think the main idea is you can keep the 80%. You don't have to change that much. You don't have to change much of your habits, your identity, your beliefs. You just have to change 20%. Maybe it's work 20% harder. Maybe it's do 20% more episodes. Maybe it's X, Y, Z. It's not that much. Whereas 10X, because it is so massive, because it's so big, honestly, and you actually want it to be impossible, because it is so big, almost everything you're doing right now won't get you there. Almost everything you're doing right now is a waste of time compared to that massive future. And so it being such a big future and a huge filter, you have to get rid of 80%. So that's the opposite. Whereas with 2X, you can keep 80% of your life. With 10X, you have to get rid of 80% of your life. And 80% means that it got you here, but it won't get you there. Only the best 20% can stay. And that's where you're going to go deep, where you're going to really develop extreme levels of mastery and skill in whatever is relevant to the 10X you're going for. So it's really an emphasis on quality, not quantity, whereas 2X is just, let's just do more.
So good. Now, I interviewed Ben Hardy like 4 times. So I think these are from 2 different interviews. And I'm actually interviewing Ben Hardy, I think, next week again. So we can share those links. Eamon, if you can, share those links of this episode or all the episodes. We can maybe shoot out an email with all the episodes. But yeah, 2X is harder than 10X. Doing the same. If you want to do 2X, you got to do just the same stuff you're already doing. You just do more of the same stuff you're already doing. If you want to do 10X, you've got to think differently, right? You've got to do something differently. You got to focus on the 20% that's really moving the needle and drop everything else, right? So 10Xing is about doing the right work, about thinking innovatively and leaning into the 20% of the work that has the most results, okay? So 80-20 rule. Ways that you might be wasting your time, doing the wrong things, right? Doing things that don't move the needle, that are counterproductive, saying yes to everything, and not being strategic about the way that you spend your time, not doing the right things, right? You didn't figure out what the right thing to do was. You just keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. You need to do something different. You need to test new things so that you can figure out how to get something that actually works. Okay, doing the right things, but in the wrong way. You're taking too long. You're not using editing tools like OpusClip, right? You're doing your editing from scratch. You're not using ChatGPT. You're not being fast enough. You're multitasking. You're not keeping up with the times. You're not on the right platforms, right? So you got to do you're doing the right things, but you're not doing them. You're doing them in the wrong way. You're taking too long. You're being inefficient and then not learning. You're not getting better. You're not hiring. You're not automating. You're not delegating, right? So these are all the different ways that you might be wasting your time. And again, you need to focus on the 20% that's going to get you where you want to go faster. So I love that video. But so basically, guys, what am I trying to teach you? I'm trying to teach you that you need to resist the woman in the red dress. The more successful that you get, the more that people are going to ask you to do things that you shouldn't be doing. So for example, 2 years ago, Penguin Random House reached out to me to write a book. I had another, like Simon & Schuster, reach out to me to write a book. And everybody was pressuring me to write a book. But I just started my podcast network and I needed to focus. I needed to be the CEO. I needed to keep growing my podcast. Book wasn't in my vision statement. Like, I want the #1 business podcast network. And now I've like doubled the size of my business because I said no and I focused on my network. I didn't, even though it's sexy to have a book and people want me to write a book, other people would have just said yes and like went along with it. But no, I have a plan and I'm sticking to my plan. So the more successful that you get, the more that you're going to have to say no to things that even seem really great, even things that you would have loved to say yes to in the past. Okay. So successful entrepreneurship is not sexy. The vast majority of success is doing things that you know you should be doing, but aren't. So sometimes you're going to have to avoid the sexy stuff and just work on your business. You got to say no. Say no to opportunities. Every no is a deeper yes to what you actually want and need. That is what focus is. Focus is saying no to things, saying no to everything that is not going to help you get to your future self. So from now on, when you have a decision about spending your time, is this getting me to my future self, or is this doing more of what's going to keep me in my current self? Okay. You might have to sacrifice in the short term. You might have to work weekends in the short terms. You might have to have a side hustle in the short term and work more hours than you're used to. You might have to give up TV, right? You might have to sacrifice, and you need to start saying no to things that are not going to get you to your future self. That is what's going to enable you to enter the creator economy and become successful. It's going to be the consistency and the hard work and the working on the right things, the 20% that's going to get you to where you need to go. Okay, so name one thing you guys are going to start saying no to so that you can have more time to start on your creator entrepreneurship journey. TV shows, Netflix, less doom scrolling, low frequency people. Yes. Yep. Guys, I gave up TV when I started my podcast. I still don't really watch TV, only as like date night. And it was probably the best decision I ever made. It unlocks like an hour or two a day for me to work on my podcast. And that's all I needed to get started. No, you can't give up on your kids. So not my kids. Oh, you start saying no to your kids. Okay. The other thing you guys are going to stop doing is wasting your time editing your videos. Now you have tools like OpusClip that can help you get super far. Now you might have AI is like a really great intern, right? So OpusClip is going to help you with so much of the stuff that used to suck up time, like getting transcripts, like getting auto captions, helping you with your hooks, helping you sift through a lot of video content, editing. It's going to help you with all those things. And then you need to use your amazing human brain to finalize it and make it great. You know, so it's like you use AI like your assistant, and OpusClip is an amazing video assistant. Okay. So I'm excited for you guys to try it. Okay, so we're getting to the end of the presentation. I've got a couple more tools. These are some free gifts that we're also giving out. So this is something that I use every single week at YAP Media. It's called a weekly prioritization matrix. Okay, so this is a way for you to take everything that you need to do and categorize it so that you know what to work on in the week. This is something that you do every like either Friday afternoon or Monday morning. Okay, so is it urgent and important? You're going to do it this week. Is it non-urgent and important? You're going to schedule it for upcoming weeks. Is it urgent and non-important? So you're going to delegate it, outsource it. Or is it non-urgent and non-important and you're going to drop it for now? The other thing that I want you guys to start doing if you really want to get serious about becoming an entrepreneur, crushing it, is you got to schedule your tasks. For me, if I don't schedule it, I'm not doing it. I schedule everything. And the key is you don't want to multitask, you want to monotask. Okay. Monotasking is everything. Multitasking is when you make mistakes, you drop productivity, you think you're doing a lot of work, but really you're getting nothing done. I get everything done when I monotask. So every single thing I have to do, from showering to eating to exercises to working on a presentation to checking my email to working on charity projects, recording, all of that is blocked out. Okay. I also do batch recording days. Tuesdays and Thursdays I record. Other days I'm CEO, right? So you want to batch your days based on what you want to do as a content creator and when you have to do work, and do the same things at the same time, right? So schedule everything, very important. Now, the other thing that you want to think about is like how you get, when you're having to do your deep work, how are you going to get in the right mindset? What are you going to do? All right. So flow is something that Stephen Kotler talks about. And essentially, if you want to get into a flow state, you need 90 to 120 20 chunks of uninterrupted time to do high priority tasks. So about 3 times a week, I have a 90-minute chunk of just flow time that I put the highest priority tasks in, that this is when I have to do the work. Okay, so you turn off your phone, you turn off Slack, you don't eat, you don't do any, you don't have any distractions. You just work on your stuff for that 90 uninterrupted minutes. And within 10 minutes or so, you should be getting into flow. So your creativity spikes. And I've got a hack for this because I have a little bit of ADHD and I have a hack for getting into flow that I'm going to go over. But first, I just want to tell you another thing that you need to be aware about is perfect timing, right? Everybody has a different sort of circadian rhythm. So typically, if you're like a regular morning person, like you go to sleep at 10, you wake up at 6 or something like that, you have certain amounts of when you can do your best work. So in the morning, you want to do analytical work. In the afternoon, you're going to have the least energy. So that's when you want to check your email, do boring stuff that doesn't take a lot of brain power. And then at night, early evening, 4 or 5 p.m., you're probably your most creative. But if you're a night owl, you've got a different schedule, right? So you need to realize like when you do the right work. Like for me, I'm naturally a night owl. So like really late at night, I get very creative at like 11 p.m. Like this whole presentation I did probably from 11 to 1 a.m. every night for the last 3 weeks. Like that's how I operate, right? So everybody's different. You need to figure out like when is the best time for you to do what kind of work and then schedule it accordingly. Now, last thing I'm going to go over with you guys is a trick that I've done that has totally changed the game for me to do stuff that I don't want to do. So if I'm procrastinating something, if I've got something really important, or just in general, just whenever I have something I have to do and I got to focus on it because I have trouble focusing, I do this Pomodoro technique that I made up. And it's like a mix of something that I learned with adding my own twist to it. So number one, I use Siri on my phone and I say, I do either 25-minute or 45-minute chunks of time, depending on what the task is. If I think I'm going to finish it in 25 minutes, I schedule 25 minutes on the clock. If I think I can schedule in 45 minutes, I schedule 45 minutes on the clock. So it's one task, again, mono task. So I'm like, I have to create this contract. I have to edit a contract and I'm going to give myself 45 minutes. Okay. I say 45 minutes on the clock. I put on my timer on my phone. And I know I'm not allowed to do anything but work on that thing. I can't open my Slack. I can't open my email. I can't check my text messages. I can't go get an ice cream or like do anything. I have to just sit there and work on it. Okay. Once the timer rings, I have 5 minutes to do whatever I wanted to do that I told myself I couldn't do. If I'm like, damn, I really want to check my email, but I can't. I really want to check my phone. In those 5 minutes, once the timer's up, that's my reward. I can check my phone. I can check my email. I can go get a snack. I can take a walk. I could do whatever I want in that 5 minutes as my reward. And then boom, next 25 minutes starts or 45 minutes starts. So I literally get like 10 times as much done if I do this than if I don't do this. So I highly recommend doing this. It has totally changed the game for me as somebody who has trouble focusing. And then once you're done with like, let's say you do like 3 45-minute rounds, then you can take like a longer break, go exercise, go do whatever and get back to it. But this has really helped me with like really big projects that I need to get done. That's the webinar, guys. If you guys haven't yet, connect with me on LinkedIn, on Instagram, at YAP with Hala. Follow the podcast, YouTube, audio, Spotify, Apple, all on there. Thank you, Kate, for dropping the links. I hope you guys really enjoyed this. If you guys want to just give me some thoughts about what you thought about the webinar, that'd be awesome. We can use it in our case study and everything like this. Did you guys feel like you learned? Is there anything you would like differently if I do this again? I hope you guys really take your creator entrepreneurship journey seriously. I hope you guys do all the activities in the workbook, create your future self vision, all of that great stuff. Make sure you guys test out OpusClip. It's awesome. Thank you to OpusClip for sponsoring this webinar. Again, this is something that we would have charged $1,000 for if it was a masterclass or something. So thanks to OpusClip for giving you this free training. I'm glad that you guys enjoyed it. All right, guys, till we meet again. Thank you so much. I hope everybody has a great rest of your day. I hope you guys feel inspired. Keep in touch. Can't wait to hear about your journey. If you guys make any progress, make sure you shoot me a DM, email, LinkedIn message, Instagram message. Listen to the podcast, drop us a review, give me feedback there. Love you guys. Thank you so much.